Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. Today we're unboxing another box of 10 Pokemon cards I spent at PSA. Let me get them out of this box that they sent to me, professionally packaged, to keep the cards safe. Let me get them out of here and let's see what grades I got. Alright, let's go. Check out this 1999 Pokemon game base Rattata, the number 61 card of this set. Looking at the front surface of this card, we'll start with that there's a crease about 2/3 down that right edge, right on the yellow border, and if you look at the left edge, you'll see some dirt and some other stuff. So since we're talking about the corners and the edges, there is some damage down that left edge since we're looking at it. The rest of the corners edges look pretty nice. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top, and centering left to right looks a little towards the left. Looking at the back of the card, our surface looks really good. That little bend on the front doesn't show on the back. Or crease on the front doesn't show on the back. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's a little towards the right. Top to bottom centering looks within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper edge, the right edge, and looks like a little bit on the lower edge, look like they all have some slight damage. And we're going to get a grade of excellent, mint 6. Not too bad of a grade. Let's look at this 1999 Pokemon game base Sandshrew, the number 62 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, I did not see any creases, bends, or scratches. The graphics look very vibrant. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think, is all within the tolerance or really close. Looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage that I can find. Taking a look at the back of the card, like we always do, our surface shows no creases, bends, or scratches or any other damage. Our centering from left to right looks a little towards the left, and centering from top to bottom, I think, is maybe slightly towards the top, but I think that's within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper edge has quite a bit of damage. The upper right corner, there's some slight damage down that right side, and a little across that lower edge. And that'll give us a grade of near mint 7. Old Sandshrew pulled through with a 7. Here is a 1999 Pokemon game base Squirtle, the 63rd card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, the thing that jumps out at me is our centering from top to bottom is quite a bit towards the top, and centering from left to right, though, looks pretty much close to tolerance or within. Looking at our surface, though, it's free and clear of any damage, creases, bends, or any other problems. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're very clean and free of any damage. Flip the card over and look at the back of the card, and you see our centering problems continue over on the back. It's quite a bit towards the top, but the left to right looks a little towards the left maybe. And looking at our surface, I don't see any problems on the graphics, no scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some damage, very slight damage across that upper edge. And old Squirtle is going to get a grade of near mint 8. That's really good for old Squirtle. We're looking at a 1999 Pokemon game base Starmie, the number 64 card of this set. Starmie looks very clean and vibrant. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think that's close to or within the tolerance. Looking at our center from top to bottom, it's quite a bit towards the top. Looking at the corners and our edges, our upper edge looks like it has a couple specks of damage and dirt. Let's take a gander at the back of the card, and we'll start with our surface. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. Going to our centering from top to bottom, it's quite a bit towards the top. Left to right centering looks a little towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper edge and the lower edge definitely both have some damage. There's some slight damage on the left edge, but the right edge looks pretty clean. There might be some damage on both right corners, though. And we're going to get a good grade of excellent mint 6. I'll have to take it. Let me show you this 1999 Pokemon game base Staryu, the number 65 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics look vibrant and clean. The Surface shows no damage that I can find, like scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, that's all looks really close to the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, there looks like there's some slight edge damage on that the upper edge towards the left, and maybe a little down that right edge. The back of the card looks pretty good at first glance. You start with the centering from left to right. I think that's really close to the tolerance, and top to bottom centering is also close to the tolerances. Looking at our surface, I did not find any scratches, creases, or bends, but once we get to our corners and our edges, you can see that the upper edge and the lower left corner have some slight damage. And we'll receive a grade of excellent mint 6 for Staryu. That's not too bad. You're looking at a 1999 Pokemon game base Tangela, the number 66 card of this set. Tangela's graphics are clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface of the card. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it looks really close to tolerance, but it might be slightly towards the top. Left to right centering, though, I think is within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, they actually look pretty clean, and I didn't see any damage. As we turn the card over and look to the back, our centering from left to right is within the tolerances. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our surface, it is free of any creases, bends, scratches, or dirt. And looking at our corners and our edges, the upper edge and the lower edge both have some slight damage that's pretty visible, and there's a speck or two on the both side edges. And the grade's going to be near mint 7. Tangela did pretty good. This card is a 1999 Pokemon game-based Voltorb, the number 67 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, it looks very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. The graphics look great. Looking at our centering from left to right, and it looks close to the tolerance or within. Our centering from top to bottom might be slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see they are free of any damage. Looking at the back of the card, our surface shows no damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think the left to right looks really close or within tolerance. Top to bottom, it might be slightly towards the top, but really close to the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see a speck of damage on that upper left corner and on that upper edge, and the rest look pretty darn good. And they'll give us a grade of near mint 8. That might have been a little higher, I think, but it's okay. Let's check out this 1999 Pokemon game-based Vulpix, the number 68 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, I did not see any creases, bends, scratches, or any other damage. Our centering from left to right, I think, is within the tolerance. Maybe a little towards the left, but I think it's within the tolerance. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. As we look to the back, you can see that our centering from left to right is a little towards the right. Centering from top to bottom, maybe slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our surface, it looks really clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends, but I do see a white speck just on the upper border, blue border, just above the M of Pokemon. And looking at our corners and our edges, the lower edge, the upper edge have some damage, and looks like both side edges have some very slight damage. And Vulpix is going to get a grade of excellent mint 6. Pretty good for old Vulpix like this one. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Weedle, the number 69 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, graphics are clean and bright. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Looking at our centering from left to right, it might be slightly towards the right, and top to bottom centering, I think, is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I did not see any damage that would affect a grade. Let's flip this card over and take a look at the back. Our centering from left to right is towards the left a little bit. Top to bottom centering is within the tolerance. Our surface shows no damage like creases, bends, scratches, or any dirt. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper edge, the upper right corner, the lower right corner, the lower edge, and the lower left corner All have some damage, and there's some specks of damage up that left edge. And this Weedle's going to get a grade of near mint 7. Could have been better, but it's okay. I'm showing you this 1999 Pokemon game-based Clefairy doll, a shadowless trainer, the number 70 card. Looking at the front of this card, it's very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's a little bit towards the right, and top to bottom centering, maybe slightly towards the bottom, but really close to the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. The back of the card looks really clean, just like the front, of any scratches, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's towards the left a little bit. Centering from top to bottom is slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see some slight damage on the upper left corner, down that right side a little bit, and that lower right corner, and maybe that lower left corner. And the grade this trainer is going to get is excellent, mint 6. That's pretty darn good for this old of a card. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cards and the grades presented. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, you gotta catch them all. Have a great day.